There's many people who don't think they have friends. If you've thought that or wonder that, go be the kind of person that you wish you were friends with. Be a friend, like reach out, like take action to create relationships and connections. And you will find that you're more fulfilled and you're more supported and you have friends now, right? It's certainly not apologizing that I'm about to talk about faith, right? You came to a conference that was going to talk about that, right? I'm not ever going to try to project any specific set of beliefs on someone. And it's like, why would I not share with people the foundational things that have created so much freedom and peace and enjoyment in my life?
Maybe just men as a whole, we haven't really been taught what to do with or how to handle or where to go. Or I think as men, we all ask ourselves the same questions as far as our manhood and being a man, being a father, being a leader, being, are we enough?
Welcome to the Everyday Leader Podcast. Leadership is a choice. Join me, Matt, and my co-hosts Drew and Tate each episode as we break down how to lead powerfully in your family, team, and organization.
Hey guys, welcome to this week's episode of the Everyday Leader Podcast. Today we've got all three of us, Matt, Drew, myself, Tate, and we're going to spend this episode talking about the event that Matt and Drew just hosted with AMP Arise was the event.
Yeah.
And how that went, how it came about, kind of some of the people and demographics that showed up, and just really learn how that experience went for them, how it went for the guys, and just where it's going from here. So with that, obviously this group, we talk a lot about leadership and helping each other, and especially people kind of our demographic, if you want to call it that. Young men kind of finding themselves in their direction and what God has in plan for them and how to take action on that. So with that though, how did you get to the point of putting together this group and hosting a live event?
Yeah. Matt's seen kind of front row to all of this. And although this is my business, Matt's been pretty involved and a part of it. But if those of you who may not know, I think I've talked about some of this on previous episodes, but as some context, my partner, Josh Tilley, and I also have a partner named Nathan Wheeler. We launched this program at the beginning of the year. In the beginning, in my head, it was going to be just a group coaching program for men. And Josh was like, no, I think there's something important about getting men together in person. We brought our partner Nathan in, who's been on the podcast as well. And we hosted a retreat in April. Matt came out and helped facilitate that and coach at that and speak at that, and just had an incredible experience. And we knew we were onto something after that, between the experiences the men were having that are in our coaching program and the men that came to that and the outcomes they had just that weekend and in their life since. And as we were talking about our program more with someone who has a pretty big program himself, he's like, hey, you're making it too hard for people to get into what you're doing. Like, you've got to start with something more accessible, like a 1-day event, before you get them to a 3-day event. So we tried to take the best of our 3-day event and put it into a 1-day. And we're going to do more of these going forward. So we're going to do one in Arizona in November, and either Colorado or Utah again, probably in January. And then we'll do a retreat next year. But this way we can get people under our ecosystem, learn what we're about, and then they can commit to something a little bit longer, like one of those 3-day experiences. And then if they want to be part of our year-round thing, awesome.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of the context about why we threw this particular event. And then it was really about, for the men that came, how do we give them just an unbelievable 1-day experience that they'll and I think my biggest problem with conferences is you go and you get motivated and you go home and nothing changes. So it was like, how do we drive that message home? Like, take what you learned today and go implement it somewhere in your life.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, I don't know, Matt, any thoughts right off the bat, just as I give that context?
Well, I kind of touched on this a couple weeks ago in an episode about, like, I believe everyone is served. And like, Tate, you've done this too, maybe not in the exact same way, but you have totally done this too. I think it serves everyone to plan some type of gathering and then go try to get people to come to it. It's like very telling and just like you see like, wow, this is work. To like enroll people,
It's
to like ask
hard.
a vision, and to have human beings come to a place and participate in something you're doing, especially if there's an investment to it. That is like, it's a great experience, and it's way more challenging than I think most people realize. And so it was fun to have a front row seat to how this all happened. And Drew, what would you say? Even like 10 days before, 2 weeks before, still like a high level of like wondering, like, is this gonna work?
Yeah.
Maybe a week before or 3 days.
2 days before, like we had a venue that could hold up to 300. We ended up having almost 180 people in the room, which still felt really packed for the venue. We could have like crammed chairs closer together and made more room if we'd sold more tickets, but it felt like a sold out event. But to your point, like, yeah, most people didn't buy their tickets till 2 or 3 days before. I think the beginning of the week we're at I don't know, 80, 90 tickets, and most of them sold. In fact, we ended the night around 150 and had another 30 people just show up at the event or show up throughout the day even.
Yeah.
So I think some people
just
got
kind of
without paying for a ticket, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Well, and just to circle back a little bit, I know we've touched on it in other episodes, but AMP stands for the Abundant Man Project, correct?
Yeah.
And so that's the demographic you're targeting and serving, is kind of young middle-aged men finding their way.
Yeah.
So, but to Matt's point, I mean, when you're trying to get people, especially with a financial investment, it seems like if you're hosting an event and you're telling people about it and maybe there's very little or no investment on their part, it seems like you can get a bunch of people to come support you once or twice. And it feels like more like they're showing up in support of whatever you're trying to do, rather than on this level, it's truly trying to sell value on the, hey, this is good for you guys. Like, this isn't just supporting me. This is, we're here for you, the people that are showing up, and there is an investment in that. And it's just a completely different game.
Yeah. So that's one of the things that I got to witness is, how to use the current systems we have to project information or let people know that something's available, while also maintaining some level of just authenticity and sincerity in the desire to help people. Because there are so many things on the internet that people are trying to get your attention, get you to come to, get you to pay for. A lot of them are great and have value, and a lot of them don't. And so that was also really cool to see Drew, your guys' consistency with like, hey, we're going to use the methods available to us to let people know about this. And we're going to do as much as we can to keep it true to brand, true to like our intentions and our purpose. And then really, really cool was that everyone there got to then experience like how real and authentic and like sincere the mission and the purpose is. And there was actually people voluntarily posting on Instagram after saying, this was so real, so raw, no angle, right? Like that to me was really cool to see. And Drew, that had to have just felt like such a massive win, right? To actually go gather the people and have many people feel like, wow, that was actually really real.
Yeah. And we have something to sell. We didn't like make a hard close and twist people's arms, but we had a lot of guys sign up because of the experience that they had too, which was also super exciting for our community and our growth. And at the same time, like even some that haven't joined have responded to our follow-up texts and emails. Like, I've been praying every day since the event. I haven't prayed in years. I think Ben Lawson, our fitness coach, he's been on the podcast before. He helped run a fitness component we had in the morning before, and had a man reach out to him and say, hey, I haven't gone on a walk for more than a mile and I don't know how long, but he's like, I'm getting up and moving every day. So, well, I think it's cool what you can make happen in someone's life in a very short time if they're open to receiving.
Yeah. Well, and I'm just kind of thinking out loud for myself at the moment, but everybody going to these events, a lot of the time they're thinking, oh man, I'm going to get a sales pitch and, try to get me signed up for some crazy program or training or whatever. And I'm guilty of that myself. But on the same note, after having a really good experience, if you didn't at least offer me, like, what do I do next? I'd be sitting there going, well,
I missed.
well, that was all cool, but now what? What am I supposed to do? So your approach, in my mind, tends to make sense. And I feel like if you wouldn't have at least offered something, it would have been a hole just for some of those guys. And it's just a thought I'm having.
So
with that,
one
though,
on that
you mentioned. Yeah, go ahead.
Just a couple weeks ago, right? I already talked about like the power of making offers, like you're saying, like it serves people to say like, hey, here's this option. But also on the flip side, like if you're listening to this, don't be weird about money. Like that doesn't mean go blow money on stuff, but just truly like if you see value in something, if it occurs to you that like from a powerful emotional state, you can say, yes, like I want this and I'm going to invest in this. That's amazing. You can also not invest in something. My biggest thing is like, don't lie to yourself. Like don't talk yourself out of investing in something because of your fears and scarcity and apprehensions. I powerfully say no to things all the time that I choose not to spend money on or not to invest in. And like, that's great. There's no reason for it to be weird. Find what's valuable to you, tell yourself the truth. And if it occurs to you that it's like, hey, there's value here and this would really serve me, go invest in it. And it will be an awesome experience. And if there's things that aren't, don't. So we got to, right. It was cool to see that people on all parts of that spectrum this weekend. And it's also like cool to be unattached as the person making the offer. Like, I don't need people to say yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, with that, you mentioned men, and I know you guys both spoke at the event, but I know you guys had a whole lineup of speakers. I mean, how many speakers were there total?
Total, there were, let's see.
7?
I got to count off the top of my head. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think 7. Yeah.
7. Okay.
7 or 8, but yeah.
Well, the thing that stood out to me is a lot of these guys aren't just speakers. I mean, these are guys that are truly professional speakers in their space, successful businessmen, have incredible stories, including Ben. And so just tell me a little bit about that lineup and why that lineup and how that lineup came to be.
Some of it's miracles, honestly. Yeah, and for just to reference who our speaker lineup was, there's Matt and myself, obviously, Josh and Nathan, my business partners that were there. Kirk Weisler was our MC, who we've developed a relationship with this year, and he came to one of our events. He's also a speaker. He's fantastic. He's been to hundreds of men's type of events. Ben Lawson, he didn't speak, but he was on the panel during the day. Well, I guess he spoke for about 5 minutes, and then he ran our fitness challenge in the morning. But the bigger names were Ray Cash, Keaton Hoskins, and Chad Hymas. And the other thing that was pretty amazing is the venue we had it at, Renatus. They're a big education company, real estate company. I actually invested in their education 5 or 6 years ago, so it's kind of funny that we ended up in this space that I've known about and never been to before. We for the lineup we had, our costs were very, very minimal. And it mostly was because of the mission we have and people believing in it, which is just another thing. Like I'm learning, like sometimes I'm hesitant to share the mission or the why behind what I'm doing. And like for the event center, it was like, we love what we're doing. We don't have a lot of people come in, but we want to support the cause and what you guys are doing. So come use our space. And we had a couple small things to pay for just to cover some costs, but easily could have spent $5,000 to $10,000 on the venue that we didn't have to. And even with some of the speakers, it was, hey, I see what you're doing. I care about this initiative and let me come. Like Chad Hymas, for example, he flew out from another event early to come speak and support our event because we've been planning to do some retreats at his lodge that he has in Utah in the future. So part of it, I just see like, man, I've talked about this for a while, but now it's like, now I'm experiencing keep talking about your vision, keep talking about your dreams. Because you never know who's going to listen and want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and what an incredible room to be in to have a lineup like that and get to interact with them. I mean, 180 people, that's quite a few people, but in relative, it's not. I mean, it gives
Right.
everybody the chance to go up and talk to pretty much whoever they want to still and introduce themselves and ask questions and make that connection. So that, I mean, what a cool size and cool event. With that though, 180 people, I mean, that's still, I mean, that's a lot of guys sitting in a room. And what was that demographic like? I mean, who showed up? Was it who you expected? Was it not who you expected? Was it who you wanted? Like,
Matt, you seem to be more in the crowd than I was able to be because
Yeah.
I had a lot more things to worry about. I'd love to hear what you
So-
noticed first.
Yeah, there was everything from 16-year-olds to probably close to 80 years old. And which was awesome. I was actually really surprised by the amount of people that were there over the age of like 50. I just anticipated that there would be less.
Yeah, me too.
And it was cool. Like, I actually had a really good time just trying to imagine, like, how did you end up in this room? Like, I would see people just be like, it's just fun to try to imagine, like, did someone invite you? Did you see a Facebook ad? Did you, like, what was it that had you come? Like, I'm just fascinated by someone saying, I'm going to go spend 8.5 hours on a Saturday with these people I don't know. Like, that's awesome. And to Drew's point, a big part of that is because of the willingness to talk about the mission. So if someone hears the mission and they're like, wow, I want to know who I am. I want to like be the leader God sees in me, and then they'll show up. And I also though had a cool moment at the beginning. So like before I went and got mic'd up and stuff, to like you said, Drew, I was sitting like just in the crowd with the group of people that I went with, and I would just see someone and kind of like lock into them. And a guy sitting next to me had at one point, I moved around a lot. He had like his banking app open. And I just remember thinking like, he's checking on his bank account, and then there's another guy that like, I just had that moment where I was like, all these people, like they just have real life challenges, like, and yet they chose to show up today looking for something. And that's how I kind of like was able to channel like my energy when I did speak, was like, I was just talking to a bunch of guys that are just like me. They worry about their bank account and their kids and their relationship with their spouse and their business, their job. And they want to be good and do good. They want to fulfill their God-given potential. And, life's full of challenging things. And so it was just really cool to see that. And then, Drew and the crew absolutely delivered on that. Like, I was really thrilled to see it, throughout the day. And at the end of the day, like all those guys who showed up looking for something, right? Like they found something.
well,
Yeah, I was pretty, to answer your question, Tate, I was pretty surprised how many older gentlemen we had. And talking to a few of them too, it just made me realize, man, some of these men have just been feeling empty for years, and they're just looking for help and looking for something. And there's probably things I could learn from some of those men that were there, and hopefully they learned some things from what we shared and what we brought. But we targeted like 25 to 55, but we definitely had, in our advertising especially, but we definitely had people outside of that demographic.
Well, it seems like in today's society, there has been more of a voice talking about things like men's health and um, starting to realize and vocalize more that, hey, maybe there is this something missing, or these expectations that maybe a, a demographic or a group or an age, or maybe just men as a whole, we haven't really been taught what to do with or how to handle or where to go. And to me, not that this is like a mental health targeted event, But on the same note, I think maybe it's an opportunity to have some similar type conversations before it gets to a point where it's,
Yeah.
somebody's really in a bad place. Because I think we do. I think as men, we all ask ourselves the same questions as far as our manhood and being a man, being a father, being a leader, being, are we enough? And so I think it's important. I think it's awesome to have these conversations and show men that, if nothing else, hey, you're not alone. And we're all kind of dealing with the same things in some way.
Yeah. And to that, Tate, I think like there's a little bit of a stigma when you like men's mental health.
Mhm.
At least that's what I've noticed. And I don't know if we're leaning into that so much, but what I am noticing is there are lots of men who suffer in different
Mhm.
ways. And if it's not mental health, it's the stress of work, it's the chasing after something, it's the
Yeah. Vices.
unfulfillment in their life. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
it's the
No, and
addiction. Yeah.
I didn't necessarily mean that this was targeted at mental health.
Oh no,
The
no,
correlation
sorry.
I was trying to make was that with the struggles as men that we know we deal with, that
Yeah.
it's easy for me to see how you could take that next step to where it is a true issue, or
Right.
has maybe gone to the next step, if you want to say. Um,
Well, and I just feel so lucky because I mean, part of why we have this group is like there's a lot like the statistics on men being isolated is higher than ever before. Um, so many men that are powerful that don't believe in themselves. So many men that have these great ideas that don't take action.
Mhm.
And for me, it's like I've been lucky to have men like you, both of you, in my life, and good friends down the street, and men that have helped me level up and made me want to be and show up better. And there's a lot of people that don't have that or don't realize they could have it. They could find it at their local church or with a neighbor or a friend. Um,
Yeah.
and a lot of times I think that when I said suffering, I'm just thinking like whether it's mental health or something else, they're just going through it on their own.
Mhm. And I think that's a good point. For me, it's really stood out how, I guess, common it is for kind of that loneliness, but also beyond that, in that just being surrounded by people that when you have that crazy idea, they go, yeah, do it. Because I don't know that a lot of people get that message that, yeah, that's possible, go do it.
Yeah.
And it's funny
Well,
how much just simple, yeah, dude, I love that idea. What are you going to do? How are you going to do that? And it can just start the wheels actually turning versus just being some idea that you sit in your garage and tell your buddies.
yeah. Well, that makes me think of like, I'm fascinated by the idea of friendship because there's many people who don't think they have friends. Like, I think that's pretty common. They'll just be
Mhm.
like, I don't have any friends. And my invitation, if that's you, or if you've thought that or wonder that, go be the kind of person that you wish you were friends with. It's like, and I'm not saying that you have to be anything in particular. I'm also not saying that you have to be like Kelsey makes fun of me all the time because I feel really blessed. I've created like a large group of people that I'm very close with, like people that I feel like are my people. And she almost can't keep track of them. Like I'll say a name, she's like, I don't even know who you're talking about anymore. Both of you are tight enough to me. Who knows your name? But there's like layers, and she's like, yeah, I don't know. Like I don't know who you're talking about. So I'm also not saying that like you got to go, host 20 parties or whatever. Like I'm not saying that. I'm saying that in whatever way it occurs to you, whatever way energizes you, connect with people. Like that could just be one person. That could be it could even be virtually, although I do recommend getting in person, right? It could be super simple. And like that is one of the invitations from today, like as we reflect on this, is like gather with someone. Like be a friend, like reach out, like take action to create relationships and connections. And you will find that you're more fulfilled and you're more supported and you have friends now, right? It's not just gonna happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well,
And I love that. And if I heard you guys right before this podcast, I mean, that was part of the overall message that you guys had from the event was get yourself in groups, get yourself connected, put yourself out there. Is there any more to that? I mean, not to dive way off, but that was kind of how it was summarized to me.
Yeah. At the deeper level, it's like, who does God see you as? Like, if you could see yourself the way God sees you, you wouldn't talk to yourself the way that he would talk to you or about you.
Yeah.
And
well, I'm glad you brought that up, because before we jump off here, I wanted to touch on the spiritual and relationship with God portion of this and how it all ties to what you guys just did.
Yeah. What we have 4 pillars in this project, and it's faith, family, fitness, and finance. And as we started this, we just decided, like, and I feel like there has been a little bit of shift in society. I think we've talked a little bit about even Charlie Kirk's passing, and maybe that's kind of what that's done for our country, whether someone liked him or not. But I've just decided I'm done. I'm tired of having to apologize about my faith or not talk about it or not share it. And so we had men from different faiths, and even of the same faith, who you probably would say their beliefs are even different inside of that faith. And so it just was kind of cool to be somewhere where we're not a church. We're not inviting people to like to get baptized or like join a specific religion, and to feel like, hey, we're going to invite you to get closer to God, whatever that looks like for you, or to find him, whether he's there or not. And we're going to share the experiences we have and the beliefs we have. And that probably kept some people from coming, and that's okay. And what I'm finding is, I think there's a lot of people out there that they just want to talk about that more. They want to be in rooms where, hey, we can talk about God and it not be weird. I felt that way for a long time. I don't know if you guys did at times in life, but I felt that way, and I'm glad to be putting myself out there and getting into rooms where it's okay to have conversations about God or Jesus Christ and your beliefs.
Yeah, I love
part
it.
of it,
And I agree. I've had moments recently where I'm having conversations I wouldn't have historically had. And I think society's changing in a good way, and not that, we should just follow society in that conversation, and be bold enough to continue to have those conversations. And I think it's important to support each other in that and continue to support each other.
Yeah.
Sorry,
part
Matt,
of it,
I kind of cut you off there.
Oh, you're good. Part of it was like, I knew as a speaker that everyone in that room knew that faith was one of the pillars. So it was like, I didn't spend a lot of time like, it's certainly not apologizing that I'm about to talk about faith, right? It's like you came to a conference that was going to talk about that, right? So that helped. But to Drew's point, it's like, I also have just like, and I'm not ever going to try to project any specific set of beliefs on someone. And it's like, why would I not share with people the foundational things that have created so much freedom and peace and enjoyment in my life? Like, I absolutely will do that. And that's like the source. That has been my experience. The other thing is, and just to be bold here, is like, either there is a God or there isn't. And I just, the sooner and more readily, like, you or anyone can get to that, there's peace in either one. But like, being on the fence is a no-go, like, or being lukewarm, or like kind of knowing about God but like not really believe. It's like, well, either he's there and he's real, then like, if that's the case, like, go get to know him, like, understand who he is, who his son is, how they are. Find all of that's available to you and receive those gifts. And, or not, but let's not just be in the middle, right? Like, let's not just be floundering around pretending like anyways, that's my thought. It's like either God is real or he's not. And so
Yeah.
that is like a powerful invitation as
We
well.
could have a whole conversation on that topic.
Yeah. And look, again, like I don't need anyone to have a specific set of beliefs around God either. Like there's plenty of room in my abundance or in my perspective for people to not believe in God. That's totally fine. I also just want people to be committed to that if that's what they believe. And I think that's what I'm getting at is like, be the best atheist in the world. Like be the most committed atheist with conviction and with like, if that's your thing.
Yeah. Well, one other thought. I know we got to wrap up soon, but just as we've been speaking, and sorry to cut you off, Tate, but it's also fun and cool, and kind of back to that point about just having others. Like, I don't know how much openly we talked about this early in the podcast, but three of us like basically all became jobless at the same time.
Yeah, you can put it that way.
Right. There's a little bit of joking and exaggeration to that. It's like I think we might have been doing this podcast in our boxers the first few episodes, but like it's just been awesome to be with you guys and watch you build the things you're doing, and as I'm going through the scariness of what I'm doing, knowing I'm not the only one going through the scariness of what I'm doing right now, and like once again, I just think that's the importance of like having people, having brothers, having community. So I'm just grateful for that.
Well, there's certainly seasons of life, the way I see it anymore. And you certainly need your people, and it may be different people in different seasons, and that's perfectly fine. I mean, that may be best. But as we wrap up here real quick, guys, I want to ask one last thing, and that's kind of what's next. I know you mentioned some events coming up. We'll kind of touch on those when they're going to be, maybe how to get in touch with Drew, probably on those, but also just as a whole, what, I mean, for the Abundant Man Project, what's next? What's coming? What's exciting?
We set a crazy goal when Josh and I started. We said, what would it take to get 100 men in this year to bless 100 men's lives? And it was like, that's not enough. What would it take to do 10,000 in 3 years? And now we're saying like, what would it take to like impact millions over the next decade? And like, so that's the bigger mission, which has led us to like do things completely different than we were thinking we'd do them 8 months ago, or even a year ago when this was first an idea. And so it's going to be continue to have more events. I'm learning marketing. I'd never done that before. We're doing webinars constantly, and just trying to grow and impact as many men and meet them where they're at. So, not every man's going to be able to be a part of our group and a part of our community. And if not, hopefully they can make it to some of the events or the more affordable options and things we have. And so just as we continue, it's going to be just how do we stay committed to helping men be abundant and amplify their God-given potential. And so, the next couple months, we've got some events coming up. If you just go to the Abundant Man Project on social media, abundantmanproject.com, you can find everything we're up to.
Awesome. Well, congratulations, guys. Sounds like it was amazing, and I'm kind of bummed I wasn't able to be there, but hopefully I can make the one in Phoenix coming up.
Yeah.
Again, congratulations. Thank you for being a part of this with me, allowing me to be a part of this and the podcast, and excited to see where we're all going still. I know we're plugging along. So for everybody listening, thanks again. Stay tuned for the next episode. We'll have another one next week.
Thanks for joining us on the Everyday Leader podcast. If you're ready to take your leadership journey even further, subscribe to our weekly newsletter for more insights and practical tips. And don't forget to connect with us on Instagram to stay a part of our growing community. Just follow the links in the show notes. If this episode impacted you, please help us spread the word and share the link with a friend from wherever you're listening.